Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the vlog. So, finally got the Mavic out of the box. Haven't had time to get out and fly it, but I thought I'd do a very quick overview or review. So let's get into it. So here it is. I know you've seen it before. I know it's nothing new. It's been about 6 months since this has been out, and there's probably a million videos out there. But this is the DJI Mavic Pro. It is the 2016, or one of the 2016 top tech devices to own. And it was very, very hard to get a hand on one of these, or to get hold of one of these. I personally waited about 5 to 6 months. I had orders that were canceled because they oversold pre-orders. I had promise dates that I was promised that never came to promise. They said they would release it on a certain date, and then I didn't get it. But if you saw one of my previous videos, I had ordered a lamp, and when I opened the box, boom, Mavic Pro was inside, and I am so ecstatic about this thing. I fell in love with it the day that I saw the release video. In fact, I was online the day before the release video, and I just saw this thing that said, DJI's got something coming very special. Stay tuned tomorrow. And I forgot to stay tuned in tomorrow. And when I actually did remember, it was later that day, around 10 o'clock at night. And I go and I go look on the DJI website to see what it was. And I saw this and I flipped. I had to have it. Without knowing anything about it, I just had to have it. Based on the fact that it folds up. And at the time, I was flying the standard and the advanced version of the DJI drone series, and I was complaining about having to carry this large bag and the portability and the big old controller, and then I saw this and I had to have it. So here we are. I got it out of the box. I've already dug through the box. You guys know I don't do unboxings because I'm so impatient. I want to dig into the box right away without setting up the camera and filming it like some guys do. And another thing is I like to do a little bit of an informed review. So I want to know what I'm getting myself into. And there have been times where I've done an open box and gone through the product and it just totally failed right in front of me on camera. And that came up, I mean, you saw that online. I didn't hide it. I didn't make excuses for it. It failed right there. So hopefully that let you go out and make a decision on whether or not you wanted to buy the product. But this, not having flown it so far, is my new favorite toy. I got favorite toys, but this is my new favorite toy. And not only for portability, but because this has actually been advertised as a sport drone. So even though it has a camera on the front, which I'll probably keep the camera guard on when I'm playing around with it. Let's see if I can get this thing back on here. If I remember how to get it on here. Snap the camera guard in. So I'll probably keep the camera guard on it when I'm actually sport flying it around. So you got a camera drone. You've got a sport flying drone, which means you can take it out and just kind of fly it around, have some fun with it. And it also comes with, I think, if it hasn't come out already, there has been an FPV goggle set that's been introduced for this, so that allows you to fly it in sport mode via FPV. And you got the little tiny controller here, and you can also fly it from the phone. So you've got like 5 amazing things about this drone that I have never seen on any other drone before. And again, I'm totally happy with spending $1,000 for this. I got the standard package. You have, I think when it first came out, they were introducing it with a drone standalone for $700. They had the $1,000 package, which comes with 1 battery and a controller, and then they had a Fly More package, which comes with 3 batteries, a bag, and some other accessories. I am very satisfied with my purchase right now. And from what I've seen online, no one's really been upset about buying this thing, and I haven't seen any videos yet. But there'll be that guy that's looking for somebody to clickbait in on that says the DJI Mavic sucks, and he'll get 1 million views because he says that it sucks. But right now, I haven't seen one, so I can't say that it sucks. But again, I'm ranting. Let's get into the hardware. We've gone through the drone. The drone is amazing. What I found out about the drone so far, just playing with it and doing the updates, is it does have a lot of processors in here. In fact, it's got a very large heatsink on the bottom, and it has a fan that once this thing is running for about 5 minutes, sounds like the fan, maybe even a little bit louder than the fan on a desktop computer. Louder than a laptop computer, as loud as a desktop computer. And one thing that worries me about this, and I'll get the other camera out so I can show you. One thing that worries me about this is the fact that that fan is actually pulling air from those vents on the front and probably shooting it out this exhaust on the back. That makes me wonder whether or not, if I'm flying with this guard off and I land in an area where I'm not sure what I'm landing on a little dust patch or something that may have been in the grass that I didn't see when I took off, will it suck up that dust, get it into the drone, and short something out? You guys who build computers know, or anybody who has a computer knows that every once in a while you have to go inside the computer and spray air duster in and clean out all the dust, or else there's the potential for it to short out your motherboard. And I'm worried about that. I want to know if that's actually going to happen. Another thing is, because it needs so much cooling, how's it going to perform in the middle of the summer? You guys have had these things for, I guess, since, I don't know, September, October. No one's, I don't know, maybe someone in a more tropical or more warm climate can tell me. How's this thing perform when it's 90 degrees outside? And like when I was in Thailand, it was 90 degrees with 100% humidity. 90 degrees Fahrenheit, by the way. Will this still perform, or will it shut down because it's overheating like some action cameras do? Something I guess time will tell, and I will find out this summer. And on top of it, let's get this out of the way for a second. Let me bring the amazing tiny little controller into focus. This has a fan in it too. It has a fan. It's got little vents on the front. And when you're running it, after about 5 minutes, you can hear, it's not as loud, but you can hear a fan running. So how does this perform if it's too hot outside or it's wet? I mean, can I take this outside? There have been times where, we'd be out at the field flying our helicopters, our electric helicopters, because it was just misty or foggy outside. If it's misty or foggy outside, do I take the risk of shorting out my drone because it's sucking in moisture and depositing all over whatever electronics are in here? I don't know. I guess I gotta find that out. And I guess time will tell. But again, if you guys have already experienced it, or know whether or not that's not a true statement, leave a comment below. It'd be interesting in knowing, because I don't want to be paranoid about not being able to fly my drone because it's potentially going to rain outside and it's a little bit moist or high humidity outside. I want to know that up front. But let me do something here. I'm going to unfold it just because I don't know if you're supposed to, or if it. Hold on, let's just try it and see what happens. Will this thing power up while it's folded up? Apparently it will. It will power up while it's folded up. So you know what that means, guys? Since this powers up while it's folded up, and I don't know if you've seen it, they actually sell, for the Phantom size quadcopters, this little handle, so you can use your Phantom as a stabilized gimbaled camera. I'm thinking there might be some kind of attachment coming out soon that allows you to mount this and use it as a stabilized camera. I don't know. Wouldn't put it past DJI. Karma's out. GoPro has one. Got a little gimbal stabilized in it. I know DJI has the Osmo, but maybe they want to, give guys who have one of these tiny little things, another option for use. Doesn't have a microphone on it, but you can always record on something else and sync the video together. Just saying. I wouldn't mind seeing an actual action cam from DJI either. But since we got that up and loaded, let's get this thing fired up. I'm gonna put this to the side for a second, and let's get this little bad boy fired up. Let's get my camera straight here. We are now connecting. Oh, I gotta turn on the phone. Get into the app. We are now connected. And right now, I mean, the layout of it looks similar, if not the same, as the previous DJI Go experiences that I've had. I saw that there is another DJI Go, I think, for the Inspire and Phantom 4 versions, but this one looks similar to the Phantom 3 series experience. So here's the cool thing about this, and there are actually two cool things about this that I found that are added to the Mavic. I did a video about this, and guys didn't understand what I was saying, but well, not about this, but speaking toward this. Look at this image quality. It's like 1080 video transmission back to your FPV display. 1080. Now on the standard series, you may have gotten 720. Now it's probably gonna keep talking. I don't know if I can turn that down. but you may have gotten 720. But further got away, it get a little glitchy, and you might not get quite as clear of an image. What I believe that I read about this was it gets you 1080 in close range and 720 in long range, and the long range on this is 4 miles away. So, especially with this one, I guess they had to give you a super crisp, clear screen because they actually, I think, released this with a tap to focus feature, which I did not like. That would have been the only thing I would have been complaining about right now is the tap to focus feature, because if you're out and you're kind of trying to make sure everything's going on this, and you're looking at your distances and your GPS signals, you're not really focusing on whether or not the image you're filming is in focus, especially if you're flying towards something and images were in the back and they were in focus and now they're out of focus. You're not going to be focusing on that. So focusing, but you're not going to be paying attention to it. But what I think that I see here, and I haven't played with this, but I kind of saw someone else's video where they had the Lychee app and they had autofocus. What I see now here is that there is actually a button here that kind of gives you, I guess, tap to focus or autofocus. And the reason I think it's autofocus is because if I do this, well, I guess I'm in the wrong mode right now. If I do this and I do that, it says little autofocus image pop up. Now I'm thinking that might be right in there. It might stay autofocus, but I got to go through it and figure it out. But I definitely didn't want to have to keep tapping the screen to focus on something. Now if I put this right in the center like this, I'll try to get a little bit lower. If I put that right in the center like this and it stays focused on center screen, cool. If I'm using it for a selfie, if I'm using it for flying, as long as it stays in focus and I don't have to deal with it, I love it. But again, yeah, everything else looks to be about the same. But there is another little cool feature that I found about this, just playing with it and not reading the instructions like I never really do. In fact, I don't even think they come with instructions. You got to get online and download the PDF book for these. It comes with a basic startup. These things have gotten so easy to fly. It just comes with a basic starter's guide where it says hit this button and it'll start flying, and then move left, right, back, and forth. So you got to get online if you really want to get the details for how to fly this thing. But another thing I found out about this was you can actually zoom with this. Look at that. You can zoom up to 2 times, which means you've got the ability to stay away from objects and stay in a safe zone and still get a close shot. 2 times optical zoom, may not be the best. It's not 25 times. I can't pinpoint down on a dime from 100 foot in the air or whatever, but it keeps me away from the trees. It keeps me away from people. It keeps me away from hitting something, even though it has even though it has obstacle avoidance, you don't have obstacle avoidance behind you and don't have it on left or right. So it allows you to stay at a safe distance from something and still get a closer shot. I love that about this so far. I love the fact that it zooms and it has optical avoidance in the front, or I keep saying optical, object avoidance in the front. Love that. And when you get into it, I've went into the settings real quick to see what I had for video because I don't remember what it said online, or I can't remember, but it has 4K up to 24 frames per second, 2K at up to 30 frames per second. Actually, I don't even know what 2070 by 1530, but you got up to 30 frames per second, whatever it is. I never use these aspect ratios. And there's one right here that I'm always filming in. So you got 1080 up to 96 frames per second. And now on this one, 96 frames per second is actually slow motion. I found that out by putting it at 96 frames per second, thinking that I could fly around or fly around with it when I go out and do my testing. And it said when I tried to do the zoom, you cannot zoom in slow motion in slow motion. So don't know if I can turn that off. But I know also in 120 or in 720, usually on action cameras or on phones or something like that, anything above 120 is usually also slow motion too. So you got 720 up to 120 frames per second. Awesome. Love it. And then you got, like I said, you got your standard stuff. Now, something that's changed that I found that's changed between the two, the Advanced and the Mavic. If I can go back one. Kind of hard to do looking through a screen and looking at the thing itself. So if I go into style, you still have your standard 3 styles. You got standard, landscape, soft, and then you can customize it. But if I'm not mistaken, in this area here, in your colorization, I had a lot more than this. I remember having D-Log, and I think I had D-Syn. I know I had a Vivid, which I don't see here, but I got True Color and I got Art. And I think the one that's closest for me, if I'm looking at, I'm just going to try to get this hanky in here. The hanky's nice and red with none, and it's kind of, actually looking through my phone, it looks a little bit oversaturated. But if I go to Art, see how the reds just died out compared to the hanky on the table? So art, not sure what that is, and actually it looks like pastels. It looks like it now, and now everything looks like it's pastel. So I'll point it at me. It's got like a pastel effect to it. Get that back down there.
ADI mode.
And then if I go into true color, which is here.
ADI mode.
Yeah, those reds are popping. So true color is more vivid. It's got a very, very, very red. I think it's even more red. It's more oversaturated than the actual hanky itself. So I love it. But you don't have as many. So I don't know what the others that are missing. I can't remember, but I would need them. I usually fly in every now and then. I'll have to turn this off because it's going to keep saying ADI mode. And did you hear those fans? Did you hear those fans I was telling you about? So I would probably fly in none or true color, and then every once in a while, if I'm trying to be artsy, I'll try to fly in log, either in sin or D-log. I tried colorization. I tried filming in log, and it gives you a nice cinematic look to your video. A little brownish for me, a little muddy, but it just was too much work, and I didn't have the computer to do the post editing. So I try to keep it simple. Now I'm using a decent computer and you know, light software, but it does colorization, so maybe I'll try it again. So controller wise, like I said, being tiny is just, you know, one of the benefits of it. But if you think this is too big and you want to carry it, you can actually control your Mavic with your phone. There is a barcode somewhere on this that I'll do the testing on cam maybe. There's a barcode you gotta scan on this one, which will allow you to log into it via Wi-Fi after you flip the switch, and then you can control it via Wi-Fi. But I'm not sure how. I don't know if it's on screen gimbals or if it's, you know, what do you call it, accelerometers. But if you're using it for something like Follow Me or Action Adventure, yeah, you don't want to carry this around. And that's what I thought about some of the bigger quadcopters, I mean drones, like the Standard and the Phantom 3 series, and even some bigger ones like the Unique H. How can you do bike riding, or how can you do jogging when you got to carry around a ground station, right? So even when I wanted to take the Phantom 3 series out on the kayak, I had to make sure that I didn't drop the controller in the water or kick it off the kayak or get it wet. So having the ability not to have to do that now, because, you know, you can just carry around your phone, it's great. So for little small things, we're trying to do little action adventure things out. We don't plan on getting it far away from you, which you're not really supposed to get that far away from you anyway. I think the phone controller will work great. So I'll get, like I said, I'll get that up and running when I get that on video when I do the outdoors test. But yeah, I love it. I love it. So on the back, let's see, you got two little buttons on the back, which I believe get you into your files. And then this one does focus for you. So if you're not sure, you know how I was complaining about having an autofocus. If I could just keep hitting that button, it should keep the image in focus. So yeah, I like it. So let me go back out of this, and everything else is the same, guys. I mean, it's still got the same auto takeoff. It's still got the same return to home buttons. I got to figure out. Oh, hey, here it is. You got a return to home button here. This gets you into your flight modes. You can also get into your flight modes through this button here on screen. And one of the things that I don't know if guys, a lot of guys know, but it happened to me. My phone actually ran one time and it shut down my app. You can still do everything with the controller, so you can still return to home. You can still control it. I just didn't have FPV, but it was still running. It's still under control of the controller and not just the phone. If you lose your phone and you're out and you can't see FPV to fly it back, you should be still able to hit the return to home button and get it back to you and land it. But you'll have to land it manually instead of landing it with the return to home feature. Actually, I think return to home will land it manually for you. So yeah, guys, I don't know. I can't see how much time I've wasted of viewers. 19 minutes. That is my overview of the DJI, the amazing DJI Mavic Pro. This is one of those things, like, I don't know if I said this to you before. This is one of those things that, me being a shopaholic, that I would buy two of just because it's that good. And you don't want to waste a minute of not having one. So if this one got crashed, you could send this one back and have another one lined up. And the fact that you can buy another one for $700 might just be a plan that I will have to kind of think about, because I don't know about the Phantom 4. Maybe the Phantom 4 Pro down the line, but not now. So again, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll get out of your hair for now. I'll have more video about this once I get some better weather. And I'm actually waiting for another battery that didn't show up with this, so I don't have to keep running home and charging this thing up. Also, stay tuned, subscribe, and this month's giveaway is the Fury B F-36. So what you got to do is you got to be subscribed. And you got to go over and leave a comment on that video at the end of the month. I Actually, it's the beginning of next month, in February 1st. I will pick someone from the list of people who left a message on that video. And if you happen to see this later than this month, it is January 21st, 2017. So I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support. Thanks for following. I'll get back to you. Bye.